Hello, this is Peter B with my 5th video, and today we're going to talk about 1951 Bowman baseball cards. It was the biggest set put out by Bowman, 324 cards. They are hand-painted drawings taken from black and white photos. And in my opinion, these are very, very lovely cards. They were very similar to the 1950 set. Even some of the cards had the same exact pose. The only difference was the front of the 1950 was blank, and the front of the 1951 had the player's name, as you see in Pete Castelloni. The back of the cards look very similar to the 1950. A little write-up about the player. And like I said, I think these are very beautiful cards. This card features nice background of the orange, probably trying to depict sunset just before a game. They had a lot of batting cards. Here's one of Hank Majeski, if that's how you pronounce his name, of the Chicago White Sox. Oh, Pete was from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Once again, that same orangey background. Very lovely card. They also had nice pitcher cards. Here is Bill Pierce from the Chicago White Sox. And here is Johnny Sane from the Boston Braves. And I'm just going to put that over here for a second. And here is Joe Page from the New York Yankees. I really love these. These cards depict stadium shots. You can see in the background part of the stadium. Many other cards even show more details of different stadiums. I love this Johnny Sane background with the sky, the blue sky and the clouds. Many cards had that same background, including this one, Mickey Mantle's True rookie card. Now, unfortunately, that's not real. That's a Topps reproduced card. I don't have the original Mickey Mantle, nor can I afford one. This came out in 51. The Topps Mickey Mantle, which is considered his rookie, came out in 52. I love this card. This is a much, much more prettier card than the 1952. And it is his true rookie card. They also had nifty cards, like his manager Charlie Dressen of the Brooklyn Dodgers, giving some pointers, and it looks like maybe he's putting together a batting lineup on a chalkboard. Real neat card. Here is Eddie Robinson of the Chicago White Sox. I'll hold this so I don't knock over my thing. Looking to scoop a ball out of the dirt. Real neat card. Real pretty. And he also had some very good action cards. Here is Roy Campanella tearing off his face mask, trying to get under a foul ball. And they also had very nice portrait cards. Here's an example of Lou Boudreau of the Boston Red Sox. Very nice. And once again, these were hand-painted drawings taken from original black and white photos. All these cards are beautiful, but there is one very weird looking card, and that is manager of the Chicago White Sox, Paul Richards. Look at that. It looks like a cartoon. All the other cards are beautiful. There's a portrait of Boudreau. and then a portrait of Richards. Why does this one card stand out like a sore thumb? Well, Paul Richards was out of baseball in 1946, I believe. And just before the 1951 season, he was signed by Chicago White Sox to be their manager. The theory about this card is that Bowman had no pictures of Paul Richards. It was been like 3 years since he was a player manager. No pictures at all. So they sketched up this cartoonish card. I think someone should have made it less cartoon looking, even if it doesn't really look like him. But this is what they did for Paul Richards in 1951. The next year, in 1952, they must have come out with must have got their hands on a photo, because Paul Richards does have a correct portrait. Let me tell you a little bit about Paul Richards and why he probably deserves a better 1951 Bowman card. He was in the minor leagues, and he was in playing for the Muskogee Chiefs on July 23rd, 1928. And he pitched with both hands, his right hand and his left hand. Apparently, he was playing shortstop, and they put in a pinch hitting switch hitter. So the manager called Richards to the mound to face him. And they played a little cat and mouse. Richards would stand holding the ball with his right hand, and the switch hitter would bat left-handed. So Richards would turn around, hold the ball with his left hand, and the batter would turn around, get in the other box, and bat right-handed. And this kept on going until Richards finally stayed put. But he did pitch, even though the batter stayed put as well. He did pitch every other pitch, right-handed, left-handed, right-handed, left-handed, which I thought was pretty neat. He debuted on April 17, 1932 with the Brooklyn Dodgers. John McGraw had purchased his contract for the New York Giants. After that, John McGraw purchased his contract for the Giants in September of 1932. And he was their reserve catcher. And there actually is a baseball card showing this. And I think this is one of the very most beautiful baseball cards. I bought this a long time ago, before I learned who Paul Richards was, which is actually just recently. And that's this Gowdy right here. Look at that. Putting on or taking off his catcher's gear in the middle of the field. Beautiful card. I really love that Gowdy card. So he was their reserve catcher in 1932. The manager of his, Bill Terry, would influence his future managerial style. Terry was no-nonsense, had a no-nonsense style of managing and concentrating on pitching and defense. The Giants would win the World Series in 1933, but Richards did not get to play as he was just the backup catcher. He was traded to Connie Mack's Philadelphia A's in May 1935, and he caught the majority of the games for the A's, until he was traded later in the season back to Georgia and played for the Atlanta Crackers. As a player for the Crackers, he would tutor young players and help them improve their game. He turned around pitcher Dutch Leonard's career by teaching him the knuckleball. He was a player for the Crackers 1936 and 37, and then player-manager for them 1938 and 42. In 38, the Crackers won the pennant, and he was named Sport News Minor League Manager of the Year. Because of the shortage of players caused by players participating in World War II, he returned to the major leagues in 1943 with the Detroit Tigers. In 1945, he had a career-high batting average of .256 and was very good defensively, helping the Tigers win the AL championship, and then they beat the Cubs in the 1945 World Series. He played in 6 of the 7 games this time as starting catcher. Also that year, he was 10th place in the AL MVP voting because of his performance of handling the young Tiger pitcher staff. Following year, after hitting only .201 in 1946, he retired from the majors and returned to the minor league as player manager for the Buffalo Bison. He led the Bisons to the International League pennant in 1949 before retiring as their manager. In 1951, he became manager with the Chicago White Sox. He taught the young players pitching, defense, speed, and stolen bases to manufacture runs. Just what he learned from his former manager, Terry. Managed the White Sox to 4 winning seasons, but he was always left behind the Yankees in 51 and 53 and the Indians in 54. In September 54, he was hired by the Baltimore Orioles, being their field manager as well as their GM. He concentrated on signing many good fielding players like Brooks Robinson and hard-throwing young pitchers. In 1959, he went back to being just a field manager, tutoring all these young players. In 1960, the Orioles had a second-place finish from many years of being in the bottom half of the league, and he was named the AL Manager of the Year. In September 1961, he was hired by the brand new Houston Colt 45 to be their GM. He got players Joe Morgan, Jimmy Wynn, Mike Cuellar, and Rusty Staub. But at the end of 1965, the Houston's owner fired him because he wanted quicker and better results. In 1966, he was hired by the Atlanta Braves as GM, and he was the one who converted a reliever named Phil Negro into a starter throwing the knuckleball. 1969, Braves won the first Western Division championship, only to be swept by the Miracle Mets in the first NL Championship Series. Braves failed to contend in 70-71, so he was fired by the middle of 1972. Richards was finally out of baseball and took up golfing. That is, until Bill Veeck convinced him to come back and manage the Chicago White Sox. This was 3.5 years after being out of the game. He retired after that one season, but stayed on as player personnel advisor for the White Sox and later the Texas Rangers. He is credited with designing the oversized catcher's mitt for the catchers that had to catch knuckleballer Hoyt Wilhelm. He retired again, and on May 4th, 1986, he was playing his daily round of golf and was found slumped over in the golf cart, dead of a heart attack. There is no picture card of him as a manager for the White Sox that one year in 1976. The 1976 Topps card has Chuck Tanner as the manager in that team photo. And the 1977 has, I forget who, someone else, but he recommended that person to become manager. There is a photo, team photo of the White Sox with him in it. And actually, I don't have it, but I copied it. And that's the JPEG I used for the thumbnail of this video. So, interesting and long baseball life of Paul Richards, who touched many players. Oh, and I forgot, he tutored young manager named Tony La Russa. And I think I read that 15 players who played for him became managers. So he did influence a lot of people. So, Bowman, this very good baseball person, what were you thinking? Well, thank you very much. I hope you learned something. And please do leave comments. Bye.